So it turns out we might be seeing more of Anson Mount's Captain Pike on our screens. How so, you ask? Well, I'm going to explain. Hey everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome back to Trek Central. Recently, the head of the Star Trek franchise, Alex Kurtzman, gave an interview with Deadline's Crew Call podcast, which was released on Monday evening just gone. In the podcast, he basically gives an update on all things Star Trek at the moment, but more importantly, an update on all the currently in development Star Trek projects that we know of. There still could be stuff we don't know of, but he's basically summed up Discovery Season 3, Picard, Lower Deck, Section 31, you know, all the major announcements that we currently know of. Now, this update kind of comes at a good time, because we're about a month away from Star Trek Las Vegas, the big event where they usually announce upcoming Star Trek projects. Maybe a Pike series? I don't know, many of us are looking for one. I personally would love if they walked out and announced that. But we've got some videos on Star Trek Las Vegas coming up soon. Today, I'm just going to be focusing on this interview with head of franchise Alex Kurtzman to discuss what he mentioned in this interview and what it means for the current Star Trek shows. Remember, if you want to stay up to date with the latest Star Trek news, then make sure to subscribe to us here on Trek Central. Alternatively, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or join our Discord server. Links below. Okay, so you can find this full article and interview on Deadline. I've linked it down below in case you want to go and listen to it for yourself. So first off, Alex Kurtzman starts speaking about the Picard series. He's asked a question saying, do you build a family of characters in a show with a one-character title? Or how do you do it, essentially? Because the show is named Picard, meaning it's going to focus around him. So how are we going to build that sort of, relationship the characters have, like the Next Generation, DS9 and Voyager? So Alex Kurtzman does answer this. If you do want to see the answer to it, is on screen right now, but I'm going to read it to you. Kurtzman says, it's great and a necessary question, and it's something we've baked into the DNA of Picard. Yes, obviously Patrick is Patrick, but we have an unbelievable cast, and the thing that I love about the Next Gen cast is that you can really have a focus an episode on any of them. This is very true. I would say the same about our cast now, but it's such an incredibly brilliant group of actors that are given such an amazing things to do. Without spoiling anything, I think you'll feel that. This is great things because many were concerned about the, cast of Picard, and it is an interesting cast, I will say. After analysing it in great detail, I can't wait to see these guys in action, to be honest, and ladies. Kurtzman also spoke about the importance of having Patrick Stewart in the writer's room. As we know, Patrick Stewart has been hands-on with the development of the Picard series, and therefore I think it's going to be great. Kurtzman goes, it was essential, we spent a lot of time with Patrick, and you know what, he's incredibly brilliant just as a human and very warm, and obviously he knows Jean-Luc Picard better than anybody. And he really was the one from the outset said, I don't want to do this unless we're breaking new ground. I don't want to just play the character I played. Why come back and do that? We've already done it already. Now there's some interesting information here. We have heard this before, that Patrick Stewart didn't want to just do another set of TNG. As much as some people would love to see that, I don't think we need that in a way. We've got 7 seasons of The Next Generation and 4 major movies. We don't need a rehash of that. Something new, breaking ground is what Star Trek's all about in a way. So the fact Patrick Stewart himself wanted to do that, I think is already signaling great signs for this series, so I can't wait to see it. Kurtzman continues on by saying, so it's been a really wonderful give and take in our collaboration with Patrick, and he very quickly come to trust that we're both going to do exactly what he said in taking Picard to a new place. But also, and he doesn't look at himself this way, we're a version of him, he's Patrick Stewart, we're in a room with him, and his opinion really matters to us, and his happiness really matters to us, and ultimately we couldn't do this show the way we're doing it, and I wasn't excited about it and excited to play it. This is great news, and you can read the rest of the answer on screen now. Basically, they liked to, work with Patrick Stewart and make sure he was happy with what they were doing. Now, Starship Discovery obviously came up in this interview. Where we last left off, Discovery has sailed straight to the future, and its destiny seems a little bit odd right now. No one really knows where Discovery is going to go. So Kurtzman is asked about the stages of Discovery, how Season 3 is coming along, because they should be in production right now, and this is his answer. Picard is in the middle of shooting. We've broken the season. I'm so happy with the script. We're on episode 5 of Season 3 of Discovery. We're far along. Picard is filming here in Los Angeles, and Discovery is in Toronto. And future Trek shows, I believe, are in Toronto. Interesting there. He also pops in a quick update regarding the Section 31 series, which we know is closely related to Discovery in a way. So Barry Kim and the other writer Erika Leopold, I believe she's called, who are the 2 writers on Discovery, are breaking story on Section 31 right now, and they plan to shoot the second they're done with Discovery Season 3. We knew they've been working on a story idea for the Section 31 series for a while. It appears they still are working on it, and most likely they wouldn't have finished the story till maybe the end of summer. I'm predicting that's probably when they'll be done shooting Discovery Season 3, or even towards the end of this year. It really takes how long and how far they're going with Season 3 of Discovery, as we don't know many details about the show just yet. Now, Kurtzman also revealed his plans for, Starship to go on for the next 5 to 10 years. We know he already has quite an interesting deal with CBS himself, so he did go on to explain this. He said he went to CBS and said, "I think we have a universe that is very underutilized and a fan base that is hungry for a lot more." He walked them through a plan of what he saw for the next 5 to 10 years of Star Trek. Part of it was kind of promised the idea that it was going to take time. Like he said, and I respect this decision here, he said, "Don't expect us to put the first thing out and suddenly, we've got 100 million new fans." It's very accurate. That's not going to happen. Trek has been around far too long for that to happen. But what he did want to do is have new generations, and from what he can tell in Trek, in general, it finds people when they're about 9 and 12. It's kind of interesting the way he's put that, and we kind of get the idea of in the mind of Alex Kurtzman, with what he's talking about here. You can see his full answer on screen right now, but he's talking about how, he wants Star Trek to be envisioned by younger audiences and main audiences overall. We also got an update on the animated shows. Now, the animated shows also, Lower Decks. We've also got the Nickelodeon show, which is quite cool. Now, most people are a little bit hesitant about these. Kurtzman did say the following: "The spirit of each of these shows has to feel very different. Mike's show, which is the one for CBS All Access, is really for kids. I would say 11 to 70. That was kind of like a joke there. He says, "What I love about the way Mike is, planning to do things, what you would typically be the A story on any normal Star Trek episode happening in the background, like huge crazy shit going on in the background, that's Lower Decks, and that's super peripheral of the story that we're actually focusing on. No Trek show has ever really done that before, so we're going to get an interesting perspective with the Lower Decks animated show." Then also we know about the Nickelodeon show, which is being developed by the Hageman brothers, and it's set to focus on a group of lawless teens who have discovered like a derelict Starfleet ship. That's what I remember off the top of my head. The Hageman brothers are doing an animated show for Nickelodeon, and are being entirely different from Lower Decks. I won't announce the name of the Nickelodeon show, but that it's a really different show. It's for younger kids, full CG animation, it's going to be incredibly cinematic. We've just started seeing storyboards this week, and it looks on par with Love, Death and Robots in terms of beauty and lighting and cinema. Very interesting there, and interesting how he speaks about that. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see that show for this year, or maybe even not next year, but it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see that, to be honest. Even though it's for kids, I'll be watching it, because I love animation stuff sometimes. Now, to round off here and talking about the Pike series and the potential of seeing Anson Mount again, Kurtzman was asked about short treks. In this, he says, "That's the other thing. It's not just the shows, we have short treks too. For those who don't know, the short treks were like 4 episodes, was it 4? Either 4 or 5 episodes, but released before Discovery Season 2, and kind of set the stage for the main series, and they tied in. I mean, they did tie in an interesting way as well. We'll have to revisit them some point. But Kurtzman says this: "We have short treks too. We're doing 6 more of them. 2 of them are animated, and they're unlike the other 2 animated shows. He says, what I love about short treks is an experimental training ground, a place to experiment with different things, directors who've never worked with before, and tons they've never tried before. Now, I like the idea of this, because it means they get to experiment with new Star Trek content. In a way, I think this is great for us, the viewer, but also great for CBS and the studio. Because if we see a short trek and we don't like it, I mean, we're pretty, quick to the Twitter and Facebooks to say we don't like it. So therefore, they're going to see that feedback rather than committing to an entire episode, an entire season of it, and then getting the bad feedback. I'd rather them experiment with short treks than big TV shows, because that way, I feel like they're going to get better feedback from that. Now, he just says Michelangelo is going to be doing one of the animated shorts. The director whose name I can't pronounce, I'm so sorry, is doing another one in the animated shorts, and he's our main director on Discovery. And again, different animation styles, totally different tones aimed at kids. I would say more than adults, those 2. There you go, so those 2 short treks are aimed at kids. Now, here's a bit about Pike. Well, the interviewer asked more about seeing Captain Pike, particularly because, people loved the Enterprise crew, I certainly did, and also because of the Change.org petition, which has now reached over 30,000 signatures from passionate Star Trek fans who want a Pike series, myself being one of them. He didn't offer a definitive answer, but Kurtzman did comment the following. He goes, "I would be remiss in saying we're not going to see Spock again on Discovery, because we'll obviously jump so far in the future that it wouldn't make sense. But the idea of bringing Ethan Peck back and Anson Mount and Rebecca Roman aboard the Enterprise, I mean, we loved it so much, and to find a way to do that is definitely something we're thinking about." There we go, we have confirmation CBS are having the discussion about, potential more Pike content. Because the fans loved Anson Mount, Rebecca Roman, I'm so sorry I can't pronounce her name, and Ethan Peck, and I think we all need more of them in our lives. Now, Anson Mount also said he'd be open to returning as Captain Pike, so that could potentially be an interesting thing. We'll have to wait and see. I know this isn't the news many of us wanted. I should say hold out for another month. We do have Star Trek Las Vegas next month towards the end of July, and where there will be any announcements about upcoming shows, presumably. I mean, last year we obviously had the Patrick Stewart show announced, so yeah, I reckon it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen, so we're going to have to wait and see. I'm personally excited for it and can't wait to see more. In the meantime, I've been Captain Jack here on Trek Central. Thank you for tuning into this update today. This has been Alex Kurtzman's interview on all the latest Star Trek in development projects that we know about currently. Obviously, with Las Vegas just around the corner, that is Star Trek Las Vegas, I expect to see more information on the Star Trek universe. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe to Trek Central and follow us on social media for your latest infos in Star Trek news. Thanks for watching and goodbye.